resources from the glorious Japanese Empire. They now believe that the Quebecers who made Assassin's Creed, or Montreal, whatever, like the French Canadians that made Assassin's Creed, made it with the intention of claiming that Japan actually did chattel slavery before anybody else in the West, with the hopes that Japan will pay reparations, similar to Korea, to African nations. All right. So here's what's going on. Dexerto, as always, is stupid. And they are, once again, doing bad journalism because they're not a real journalist outlet at all. Assassin's Creed Shadows is about to come out. I'm obviously going to do a hashtag ad in a second. Okay? I did want to, before I started this hashtag ad, show you some of the funny things that people have been saying and doing about it. Obviously, I talked about like the Japanese right wing trying to build momentum around the game, which inevitably led to a comment from Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba. Except the comment itself had nothing to do with the game and everything to do with hoping that tourists that play the game don't actually desecrate these shrines thinking that they can climb on it. Okay, here's what the actual thing that happened. Kata, I fear that allowing players to attack and destroy real-world locations in game without permission could encourage similar behavior in real life. Shrine officials and local residents are also worried about this. Of course, freedom of expression must be respected, but the acts that demean local cultures should be avoided. Prime Minister Ishiba responded, how to address this legally is something we need to discuss with the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology. God, this is the most Japanese conversation of all time. Oh my God! Okay. Defacing a shrine is out of the question. It is an insult to the nation itself. When the self-defense forces were deployed in Samawa, Iraq, we ensured that they studied Islamic customs beforehand. Respecting the culture and religion of a country is fundamental, and we must make it clear that we will not simply accept acts that disregard them. That's it. Okay? That's his take. He's talking about shrines in Japan, like real existing physical shrines in Japan, because one of the dudes brought up in the Diet session that what if people watching Assassin's Creed and playing Assassin's Creed, what if they turn around and try to climb on these shrines in Japan? We're scared. We're fearful. We're Japanese. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Today I learned that Japan sent soldiers to Iraq. If you were actually a real head, if you were a real HasanAbi head, you'd know that not only did Japan send self-defense forces to Iraq, but they also sent water tanks to Iraq. And because the show that was distributed in the Middle East, including in Turkey, was Captain Tsubasa, they actually painted Captain Tsubasa on the side of the water tanks with the hopes that the insurgents would not shoot at them. That's right. Japanese self-defense forces, in a show of appreciation and support for America, also illegally occupied Iraq. And in the process, they sent humanitarian aid. And the humanitarian aid was water tanks. And because they didn't want the insurgents to shoot at the water tanks, they painted the side of the water tanks with Captain Tsubasa. And it worked, actually. I didn't know this either. You are not alone. Okay, I mean, dude, it's fine. I've talked about this before. You could fuck up the shit out of the shrines in Rise of the Ronin, Japanese game taking place in the same time period, and no one ever gave up. I know. The only reason why people decided to give up about this is because American hogs decided to speak out on behalf of Japanese people, and then Japanese hogs caught wind of it and decided to make up their own psychopathic conspiracy theory before. Yasuke is a black retainer. There's dispute on whether or not you could technically consider him a samurai or not, but that doesn't matter. He was a retainer, right? And he's a beloved figure in Japanese culture. And they've actually, he's been featured heavily in Japanese art for years. He's been in numerous other video games as well. Okay? He's been in animes. He's been in video games. He's been all around. Now, in Assassin's Creed, at a time when people are very upset about any kind of black person being shown in a video game, the American right and the Western right have decided this is the most inappropriate thing that anyone could do. They're just like ruining Japan, blah, 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 blah. Except the Japanese right wing also found out about this and saw the momentum and saw the motion and decided to come up with their own insane conspiracy theories about it. Their conspiracy theories are way funnier. They believe that, one, Japan is cucked to Korea because they have to pay for Korean comfort women, which they believe Korea made up, and it's not real, in an effort to extract resources from the glorious Japanese empire. They now believe that the Quebecers who made Assassin's Creed, or Montreal, whatever, like the French Canadians that made Assassin's Creed, made it with the intention of claiming that Japan actually did chattel slavery before anybody else in the West, with the hopes that Japan will pay reparations similar to Korea to African nations now. That's what their conspiracy theory is. They think that Japan is so cucked and they're going to start paying reparations for slavery because this video game proves that slavery existed in Japan. And that is the big conspiracy theory that is the reason why French Canadians made this video game. They also think that there will be unlimited immigration from African nations to Japan because of this video game, because Japan will feel embarrassed that they engaged in slavery. That's the Japanese right-wing take on it. It's hilarious. Do they think this is the first time people hear of Yasuke? No, that's not how hogs work. Hogs themselves have probably, the Japanese hogs or the American hogs or the Western hogs themselves, probably at a certain point celebrated Yasuke, thought it was super cool. It's a super cool story. It's a cherished figure throughout Japanese history. Yasuke, the Black Retainer. Now, it's a story that has been frequently used in Japanese culture, in both modern culture and throughout Japanese history. There's been animes. He's in movies. He's in literature. He's in video games prior to this one. And yet now it's a big deal because other dumbasses decided it's a big deal. It should be a big deal. That's it. Here. What is this? Japanese historians answer. What the? You said exact timestamp, and then you sent me a video, and the timestamp is after the video ends. I don't even know how you physically did this. The timestamp that you sent me literally is a second after the video ends. How is that possible? Some netizens are mad that the new Assassin's Creed game includes an option for Yasuke to romance Nobunaga's sister. 2023 Japanese film Kubi, which is also historical fiction, depicted Yasuke as Nobunaga's gay lover and did not spark internet rage. Yeah. Screen caption of the 2023 film Kubi, created by famous Japanese director Kitono Takeshi, in which Yasuke is depicted as a sword-carrying retainer and the male lover of Nobunaga and Mori Ranmaru, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, is the work of historical fiction. This is just people looking for outrage, trying to find something to be outraged about. That's it. And they found it because they're bored and stupid. They're bored and stupid. That's what it is. When you're bored and you're stupid, this is what you do. Many of them will never play the game. I don't think that they'll ever play the game. They just want to chirp about it. They don't want to play the game. They don't want to play any video games. They just want to complain. I am not one of those people. I, of course, will be playing this game. Stop giving them cloud. I'm not giving them cloud. I've been looking forward to this game for quite a while. I don't know where the I really want to find the freaking time that this person
するためにこのこちらを、それを鉄板をくることができないので売っております。侍はですね、この兜を形をかなりでその場合でも決してですね戦ってですね。次のご質問は侍という
1050
いらっしゃるんですね。日本人でもYasuke
Even most Japanese people
知ら
aren't
な
aware
い
of
人
him.
がね結構いらっしゃると思いますけれども、Yasuke何かと言いますとです
So
ね、
Yasuke
ふっ
came
と湧い
out
た
of the
Yasuke なん
blue
で
in
すけれども、
Japanese
この
history.
人は、日本のですね、
Nobunaga Oda, who
近
established a
世の、
foothold
足がかりを
in early
築い
modern
た
era
と
was
さ
a
れる
key
織田信
figure.
長という、人がいるんですね。16世紀の
He
終
was
わり
known
に
for
日
his
本の
attempt
天下統一
to
に
unify
名乗
Japan
りを
at
上
the
げ
end
た
of the
人なんですけれ
16th
ども
century.
ね、日本において
He
当
was the
時
most
一
powerful
番
samurai of his
力を持って
time.
いた侍ですね。で、このYasukeというのは何かと言いま
So
す
who
と、
was this
イエズス会
Yasuke?
の巡
There was
察
an Italian Jesuit missionary by the name Alessandro Val.
師だったですね。アレッサンドロ・バリニャーニというですね、イタリア人の、イエズス会の宣教師がいたんですけれども、その人がですね、連れて
Yasuke was
き
the
てい
African
た、
bodyguard that he
護
brought to this
衛
mission.
のですね、アフリカ人だったんですね。出身はモザンビーク
He's
と見られて
reportedly
おり
from
ますけれども
Mozambique.
ね、この人を信
When
長が見
Nobunaga
た
saw
時
him, he
に
told Valignano that he wanted Yasuke as his retainer.
ですね、バリンにですね、自分の家臣にしたいということで、1582年に織田の
In 1582, Nobunaga was killed by one of his retainers, Mitsuhide Akechi.
信長はですね、家臣の明智光秀という人に撃たれて亡くなっているのでですね、その時の混乱に乗じて、
Yasuke took advantage of the
逃げ
situation
た
and
んだろうというふう
escaped.
にね見られておりますけれども、その後の消息もねよく分
But
か
his
っ
whereabouts after that are untraceable. That's crazy. How are you the only black guy in Japan and your whereabouts are untraceable?
ていないというのがね、このYasukeということですね。家臣にはなっている
Although he became
そんな
Nobunaga, it's doubtful he was
ど
treated
うか
well.
ということになると、甚だ疑問と言わざるを得ないですね。Yasukeの立場が
We
ね、
don't
ど
know
こ
where
に
Yasuke
あっ
was. Okay, this guy's a little bit biased. I've heard other Japanese historians say the exact opposite of what this man is saying.
侍だったのかどうか、いろいろね揉めてま
There's
す
a
けれ
debate
ども、
whether he was a
Yasuke
samurai, but there's not enough records left to prove
を
that.
侍と定義づけるだけの資料は残されていないということですね。
Okay, this part is correct. He was a retainer, but there is debate on whether he was a samurai or not.
次のご質問は、侍の戦い
Is Yasuke African samurai? Is outrage justified? Having a fief is not a requirement for being samurai. As around the time Yasuke appeared, in increasing numbers of samurai were employed on stipend. Masudaira Letada's diary describes him as being under Nobunaga Fuchi. I don't know if Western internet writers mistakenly translate the term as carry, but Fuchi means a rice stipend or a warrior employed by such stipend. Yasuke was paid a Fuchi. At the least, Lorenzo Messia reported that Nobunaga assigned people to show him around Kyoto. Either way would make him a warrior. Having a long sword is not a mark of samurai either until late 17th century when the Edo Bofuku Iyatada Matsudaira Iyatada. Oh, sorry. Edo Bofuku outlawed wearing of the longsword in public by non-samurai population of the cities, and in any case, Louis Ferraz recorded Yasuke as having fought at Nijo, where he surrendered his sword, so he had one. So he definitely was a samurai, and considering he was among Nobunaga, Nobutada's pages guards, a relatively important one at that. I still disagree. He was obviously one of Nobunaga's pages, but that doesn't mean he was samurai. As I stated, as sandal bearer Toyotomi Hideyoshi was one of Nobunaga's pages while he was a peasant, a position that would have also seen him receive a stipend. Samurai status was gained mostly through birthright. It was really close to nobility. If you were a supreme badass with huge military accolades, a high-ranking noble could possibly elevate you to that status. Also, I do want to maintain one position. It is debated whether he was a full-fledged samurai or not. It is not debated that he was a retainer for Nobunaga. Okay? That is not up for debate. That is not up for dispute. But throughout history, Yasuke has been depicted in many different Japanese or even Western works of art about Japan as a samurai with no controversy whatsoever associated with it. No controversy whatsoever. Top She says many Japanese on Twitter are complaining about the historical revisionism of this game, which is quite ironic. Perhaps I will buy 2 copies. Yeah, that'd be really funny if this game banged in China, by the way, because the Chinese perceive this as a slight to the Japanese. Yeah, Yasuke is a character in Dynasty Warriors in both the Neo games. Yasuke has been a character in many Japanese video games. Yasuke has been a character in many Japanese works of art. What's I mean, it's an entirely made up controversy surrounding a video game that focuses on historical fiction, not real accurate analysis of history, where, you know, you basically are a fucking time traveling assassin cult. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah. Why is there even a historical argument in AC Brotherhood? You can fly using a Leonardo da Vinci machine. It takes liberties. Exactly. You know what this reminds me of? Yeah, you fist fight the Pope in one of them, which is real. It happened. I believe it happened. This reminds me of like all the anti-trans panic that really came to its apex in the last couple of years, where like the very same people that used to cross-dress or laugh at cross-dressing, not really mind it at all, are now deciding that cross-dressing in and of itself is a expression of being trans, and therefore it's it's woke and unacceptable. I find it really strange that people have this kind of attitude. I guess it's not so strange. People are very stupid. It is funny though, because it surrounds a game that very clearly does not try to present it.